From the Detroit Free Press, I'm Brian Todd with today's Voice Briefing. It's Monday, March 3rd, 2025.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Eric D. Lawrence. Taking the train to Canada from Detroit and back has long been a dream of rail and transit advocates, and talks are underway to try to make that dream a reality, with a possible future train station somewhere near the rehabilitated Michigan Central Station. But it won't happen overnight. Peter Annister, the head of the Michigan Department of Transportation's Office of Rail, said in December that getting such a service up and running could happen in the 2028 to 2029 timeframe. That's no guarantee, of course, and some passenger rail advocates think it might take another decade or more to actually happen. But MDOT says it's continuing to meet with officials on both sides of the border. One of the variables is the need for support from customs and border agencies in both the U.S. and Canada. And it's not clear how or if the Trump administration's changes in approach to foreign relations will have an impact. Frequency, however, is likely to be limited initially. The current expectation is for one train per day as an extension of the current Amtrak Wolverine route between Detroit and Chicago. Rick Harnish, executive director of the High Speed Rail Alliance, a rail advocacy group, says that level of service is insufficient and he'd like to see at least a train every 2 hours. He's calling on the state of Michigan to better fund rail projects. But if regular rail service is established eventually between Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, with a connection to Toronto, it could benefit from a project that the Canadian government is pursuing to connect Toronto to Quebec City via high-speed rail.
I'm Frank Witzel with the Detroit Free Press. Surrounded by vintage aircraft inside Hangar 13 and 14 at the old Detroit City Airport, students, from elementary schoolers to those earning master's degrees, earned how to fly planes, rockets, and drones. The weekly classes are part of the Tuskegee Airmen National Museum's mission that, in addition to preserving historic planes, artifacts, documents, and memories of the mostly black men who took to the skies to fight World War II, aims to prepare a new generation of aviators. But within the past month, the legacy of the airmen has been thrust into the public spotlight as Americans debate President Donald Trump's efforts to dismantle what have been called diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. What's more, the death of Harry Stewart Jr., one of the last surviving Tuskegee pilots, a retired vice president of A&R Pipeline Company, and 100-year-old Bloomfield Hills resident, is raising questions about how to remember the airmen when they're all gone. Named after the airfield and university in Alabama where many of them initially trained, the Tuskegee Airmen were America's first black fighter pilots. And translated into English, the native word Tuskegee means warriors. Thursday night, in a special celebration, the museum recognized its newest flyers. The ceremony included a brief address by Michigan's Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, who's running for governor, and a screening of a documentary, Double Victory, The Tuskegee Airmen at War. The airmen did not let either fight, fascism overseas, and racism at home deter them.
I'm Sue Salaski, Detroit Free Press food and restaurant writer. Denny's restaurants are the latest to implement an egg surcharge on meals that contain eggs at some locations because of rising egg costs. Egg prices have been skyrocketing due to the ongoing outbreak of bird flu. As the cost continues to rise, Denny's, the nationwide restaurant chain known for its all-day breakfast offerings, is implementing a temporary egg price increase on a market-by-market basis. According to a Denny's statement, the need for a temporary surcharge on every meal that includes eggs at some locations is due to egg shortages and the increased cost of eggs. Denny's has nearly 1,500 restaurants, with most franchised throughout the U.S. and around the globe. Some bakeries have also announced price increases. At local and popular Sister Pie in Detroit's West Village, a Tuesday Facebook post noted that with rising egg prices, it is implementing an increase on select pies. According to the post, the price increase is, quote, hopefully temporarily. Early in February, nationwide chain Waffle House shell-shocked the restaurant industry, announcing its egg dishes will have a 50-cent per egg surcharge because of soaring egg prices and shortages.
Find more from the Detroit Free Press on freep.com. That's FREEP.com. Thanks for listening, and you'll hear more from us tomorrow.